glad you made it to my video today. I am Bella Fire, and this is the second video in the 7-step process to the alchemy of self-empowerment. And I am here introducing the second step of alchemy, which is disillusion, which is the great dissolve. And this step in alchemy refers to this acceptance of our emotional being and the feminine that we are all born through. This creatrix of femininity that gives life to this planet. Now, the second chakra is the representation of this step in our bodies. And this is our creative center. This is where our creativity lies. This is where we come from. And this center of the universe, really, in so many ways, in the womb that every human is born of. And I'm here to remind you that this great disillusion is not an illusion, but it is truly the recognition of our emotions being messengers, just as the element of water is a messenger on this planet. So our bodies, right, are exact replicas of this earth, water to land. And imagine your body as this mostly water feeling entity, right? This physical, emotional receptor. As water carries the messages from the oceans and the rivers and the watersheds to every other part of this planet. And so it does to our bodies. And the great disillusion is when we can take the white hot ash that's burnt down from the crucible, from the first step, and mix that into a vessel of water. And that creates a new pH, a new solution. Mixing the ash into the water actually changes it and dissolves it into something else. And this washing through, this dissolve of our emotions is the way to become able to recognize the importance of what the messages are through our emotions. Not being stuck on them, but recognizing the messages that they bring. And this is the great element of water. This is the element of water in the 7 steps of alchemy that lies in your second chakra. And this is where your creative juices lie, whether you're a woman or a man, or however you identify, it is truly where your creative flow comes from. Whether you're creating a business, whether you're creating art, whether you're creating a piece of writing or something at all, whatever it is, creative energy comes from emotion and that flow within our bodies. And this is the blood flow that we carry through us, that pumps through each and every human. And this is the DNA from mother to child that is shared through blood. This is the disillusion. This is the message that gets carried from mother to child. And this is our DNA that we replicate again and again and again as humans. And it changes form each time, as we are each unique. But I want to remind you that this is the step in alchemy where we truly recognize our emotions and the messages that they are telling us. And what is it that we are here to learn from them? And also, how are we learning to express our emotions? So many of us have these bottled up emotions, repressed emotions from conditioning. Our society has conditioned us, especially, men, to not express their emotions. And imagine how hurtful that can be to carry that type of weight with you all the time without having the ability to feel safe enough to express your emotions or even know how to safely express them. And a lot of times there is a projection out on the universe, universal plane, between the masculine and the feminine because of these repressed emotions on the planet. Because women have had to carry this emotional burden for so long, there is an imbalance in this world, and so it's time that we find some more emotional intelligence as human beings in different ways. And that always doesn't look, the same for everyone, but it really is about checking in with yourself and also being able to express yourself. As the feminine has been stifled, her voice has been stifled for so long, and her emotions villainized, it is time for this emotional intelligence to begin to take hold on this planet in a way where we can nurture ourselves and each other through being able to recognize our emotions and what they mean, and the messages that come through to us through those emotional bodies. So this is the flow, because emotions come and go, right? And this is the flow of the great feminine. This is the wisdom of the feminine that's been repressed for so long. And it's time now. It's time that our planet begins to shift. And I truly believe this is so because the intentions that we put into ourselves, our bodies, this planet, and the water that we drink, and the water that we bathe with, and the water that we are made of, these oceans and rivers and waterways and watersheds are all our bodies, and they all flow through us, and we are all flowing with them in synchronicity, right? And so how are we speaking to water? How are we talking to water? How are we listening to water? Yeah? So anyway, I leave you with this little message and remind you that the second step in the alchemical process is disillusion, and this is the great dissolve of our emotions, and this is being able to access our emotions, and this step requires us actually acknowledging them. This is an acknowledgement of our emotions and what we're feeling, and listening to the messages that we are given there through them. And through those messages, we are able to decipher how to move forward with our emotions, sometimes a lot better than repressing them or ignoring them, or not acknowledging them at all. Because imagine what can happen when you have that dammed up without water being able to flow, that emotional block, right? It doesn't work. It creates a whole blockage in the entire system. And so I say that undam the emotional bodies within you and allow yourself to feel them. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to express yourself in different ways about your emotions, and without shame, because so many people on this planet want to shame others for being emotional or having emotional experiences. And honestly, it's really about being able to decipher and learn from those emotional experiences and how we express ourselves through them, instead of denying them altogether. How are we finding healthy ways to express anger, and how are we finding healthy ways to express dissatisfaction and just what isn't working, because it's necessary to also express the negative, but we can't get stuck in expressing a negative in unhealthy ways. So yes, that's why acknowledgement is so important. That's why this accountability of acknowledgement is what's truly the next step. And I believe that because of the imbalance in this universe that's happened through the masculine and feminine polarities, it is time for the masculine to truly take that accountability and that acknowledgement to ignoring the feminine and ignoring the sacred, and allowing the projection of his own insecurities to be placed and burdened upon her, and finding ways to unravel that in a way that is healthy for everybody. Because it's not about finger pointing and it's not about blame, but it's about finding a way that the masculine and the feminine can work together in unison with our differences instead of against each other. And for so long on this planet, the masculine has been dominating the feminine and ignoring her and not listening. And her voice has been stifled and her emotions have been unrecognized. to the point where it's become so unhealthy that her emotional burden is too much to bear now. And men really want to be able to heal this. They have to go within themselves and acknowledge that within themselves first too. So that is owning your emotions and also being okay with them, and stop the shame for feeling certain things, right? And then not allowing that repression to take over. Anyway, that's my message today. And we have to remember that the masculine and feminine is within all of us. We all have it within, but we are also born as, man or woman here on this planet, and it's time to recognize these gifts that we all have. And the gift of the feminine here on this planet is life, is to bring forth this abundance and creativity to this planet. And she has so much to offer if you just listen and you slow down and you take care of her and take care of that feminine energy. You will see how much more she will give back to you instead of ignoring it. And the way the feminine has been ignored on this planet for so long and only allowed to be a certain way. So remember that, to really nurture the feminine energy in your life and listen to the messages that come through the water. And remember, how are you speaking to water? How are you listening to water? And are you grateful for it? Are you grateful for this water element that supports and makes up the structure of almost everything on this planet and beyond, right? Water's found beyond Earth, beyond this whole reality too, which is amazing. So slow down and listen to how water is speaking, and remember to thank water and speak back to water and listen to her messages, because she's been everywhere. She gathers information from all over this planet. She comes from everywhere, from the top of mountains, and the rain, and the rainforest, and the ocean tides, and the rivers, and the waterways everywhere, the puddles. That's her domain, and she nourishes this planet with the water. And she is one of the most strongest forces ever, because her consistency is everywhere. Anyway, I wanted to leave that with you. This is a channeled message, and I hope that you receive it. Blessings.